New U.S. envoy arrives in Venezuela after Maduro's ouster. Iran hints at progress toward negotiations with U.S. Trump says U.S. will have very substantial response if Canada enacts trade deal with China. Exiled Tibetans choose leaders for lost homeland. Challenges for millions pushed back to Afghanistan. In a significant development, U.S. charge d'affaires Laura Dogu has arrived in Caracas, Venezuela, marking the first American diplomatic presence in the country in 7 years. This move comes after the U.S. severed ties with Venezuela in 2019 following disputed elections and the U.S. recognition of opposition leader Juan Guaido as interim president. Dogu, a seasoned diplomat with prior ambassadorial roles in Honduras and Nicaragua, stated upon arrival, "My team and I are ready to work," signaling a renewed commitment to diplomatic engagement. Venezuelan Foreign Minister Yvonne Gil welcomed Dogu, emphasizing a mutual desire to address bilateral issues through diplomatic dialogue grounded in mutual respect and international law. This diplomatic thaw follows the recent ousting of former President Nicolas Maduro by U.S. forces, leading to the appointment of Delcy Rodriguez as interim president. Rodriguez has since enacted significant reforms, including the privatization of Venezuela's oil sector and the announcement of an amnesty bill for political prisoners, moves seen as steps toward meeting U.S. demands and easing sanctions. A senior Iranian official says progress is being made toward possible negotiations with the United States, even as Washington increases its military presence near Iran. President Donald Trump has deployed warships to the region and warned that the U.S. could strike Iranian territory if Tehran refuses to reach a deal. Ali Larijani, head of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, said that despite what he called media exaggeration, structural arrangements for negotiations are progressing. Larijani also met with Qatar's Prime Minister in Tehran, where both sides discussed ongoing efforts to reduce regional tensions. Qatar, a key U.S. ally that maintains relatively strong ties with Iran, could serve as a mediator between the two countries. Meanwhile, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian emphasized that war would harm both nations as well as the wider region. In a phone call with Egypt's president, he reiterated that Iran has never sought conflict and does not believe a war would serve anyone's interests. U.S. President Donald Trump has warned that the United States will take strong action if Canada moves ahead with a trade agreement with China. Speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One, Trump said Washington would respond in a, quote, very substantial way, claiming the deal could expand China's influence over Canada. The president added that the U.S. does not want China gaining a foothold in its northern neighbor. Last week, Trump escalated the warning by saying he would impose 100% tariffs on Canadian goods if the agreement is finalized. Exiled Tibetans have begun a global election to choose leaders for a government representing a homeland many of them have never seen. Voting is taking place across 27 countries, from Buddhist monasteries in the Himalayas to Tibetan communities in South Asia, Europe, Australia, and North America, though not in China. Candidates say the election symbolizes the ongoing struggle for Tibetan freedom and keeps the cause alive across generations. The system is unusual, effectively electing a parliament without a sovereign state. China has strongly criticized the vote, calling the government in exile an illegal separatist group. However, the roughly 91,000 registered voters reject that claim and view the election as a powerful expression of democratic identity. The parliament serves as a key institution for Tibetans living abroad, especially since the Dalai Lama transferred political authority to elected leaders in 2011. The new 5-year parliament will include 45 members representing traditional provinces, religious groups, and the global diaspora. Sunday's ballot is the first round of voting, with final results expected in May. Election officials have also warned of past attempts to interfere with the process, including alleged cyber espionage. After years of hosting Afghan refugees, Pakistan and Iran have sharply increased deportations, forcing millions to return to Afghanistan, a country already struggling with poverty and environmental challenges. Since September 2023, more than 5 million Afghans have gone back home, representing roughly 10% of the population. About 3 million returned in the past year alone, many after spending decades abroad. The sudden influx has placed enormous pressure on Afghanistan's limited resources. Most returnees face severe housing shortages. Surveys show that around 80% do not have permanent homes and are living in temporary shelters made of mud or stone. Many renters say they cannot afford housing, with families often crowding several people into a single room. Finding work is another major challenge. Only about 11% of returning adults are fully employed, and average monthly incomes range from just $22 to $147. Basic services are also lacking. More than half of returnee households do not have reliable electricity, and many, particularly those led by women, struggle to access safe drinking water.